Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, DB. Let's get into it. Do you live in a state that has unjust bans to abortion? Plan C has got you covered. Go to plancpills.org and select your state or territory from the drop-down menu to learn how people are getting abortion pills by mail in your state, as well as information on hotlines, in-person clinics, and more. It even has a pregnancy calculator so you can determine how far along you are, which may affect which abortion options are available to you. Follow and share on social media at Plan C Pills and visit plancpills.org to learn more. Plus, make sure to check out Plan C's merch store and use code SEXEDWITHDB for 10% off. All merch proceeds go to a rotating list of abortion support organizers. Let's talk about lube and condoms. Something important to know is that oil-based lube is not to be used with condoms because the oil can cause the condom to break or tear, which would defeat the purpose of using it. Thank goodness for Uberlube. Uberlube is latex compatible, so it's safe and effective to use with condoms. But wait, there's more. Dispensing 2 drops of Uberlube inside a condom and a measured pump outside will increase pleasure. What are you waiting for? Use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off at uberlube.com. Flicking the bean, wanking, self-loving, jilling off, menage-a-moi. All of these are different and very creative ways to say masturbation. For 21 days, I conducted a masturbation experiment with one of my favorite vibes ever, the magic wand. In a nutshell, I wanted to answer one question. What is the impact of daily magic wand use on my health and wellness, as well as my sexual experience when compared to regular sexual activity and no sexual activity? The results surprised me more than I thought they would. Want to see the hypotheses and the results for yourself? Go to sexedwithdb.com/magicwandexperiment to learn more. Hello, amazing listeners. I am so thrilled, ecstatic, excited, jazzed, jizzed. No, seriously though, I'm so excited to be here answering sex ed questions. I think I was so shocked how interested folks were in these episodes, and they do so well, like pretty much just as well. Like people listen to them just as much as our longer episodes with guests when it's just me, which is so flattering. And basically we decided that we wanted, every other episode this season to be me answering a sex ed question. So if you want to go in and ask a sex ed question yourself, go to our link tree in our Instagram bio, and there's a button that says ask a sex ed question towards the bottom. And if you go ahead and do that, it'll take you to a Google form, and you can go ahead and ask whatever sex ed question that you want. And I might answer it this season on the podcast. So once again, I'm so excited to be back here answering your sex questions, because I really think that a lot of people have the same kinds of questions, and we don't really talk about our questions because we feel maybe like embarrassed about them, or we're just not really sure like what to do about them. Maybe we don't want them on our search history. We're just like not feeling up for it for learning because we're too ashamed, we're too embarrassed. But I do want to say that you're not alone. Many people have questions because their sex ed at home and in school and sometimes on the internet that they come across is trash. And so it's really important that we're able to ask questions to empower us to feel happy and healthy and just in a good place in our lives. And so I don't feel embarrassed. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want in our question box, again, on that Google form in our link tree. So what is today's question? Today's question in full comes from someone who says, sometimes I orgasm, but don't feel any of the euphoria that comes with it, and I have to go a couple more rounds to feel something. What does this mean? And so for me, this question really just comes down to like, how can I have like a stronger orgasm, or how can I feel better in my orgasm? And so if that is relevant to you, listen on. So a couple things come to mind first, right? Like number one, orgasm doesn't necessarily have to be the goal of your sexual experience with yourself or with a partner. If it is, however, that's totally cool, and that orgasming is really fun and feels really good for people. So I totally understand if it is. So maybe you're thinking like, okay, maybe I know how to reach orgasm, but it just like doesn't feel as strong or as good as I want it to feel in my body and mind. Now, first of all, let's talk about the mind part of that. Because if you are someone who feels very anxious or feels very distracted or is kind of just like not feeling very good about where you're at with sex or masturbation, or you're just thinking about your laundry list or your chore list, that might impact your orgasm. Like it might take longer to achieve. It might not be as strong. Your mind might not let your body get in the mood. So I think the first thing I'll say is like check in with yourself as to where you're actually at if you are wanting to be in that zone. And if you're not there, how can you get there? So is it like taking a couple deep breaths, doing a meditation, like relaxing yourself, not going on social media beforehand? Maybe it's setting a candle or getting some massage oil out and starting to rub your body to like really calm yourself and get into your, intimate mode, your erotic zone. And so that's the first part that I want to share. Then when it comes to the body part, I think that there are a few ideas that might get you going. But first, let's have a little break. We talk a lot about sex ed, but when we're shopping for products to support our sexual wellness, exploration, and expression, we head to the experts at Lion's Den. For 50 plus years, Lion's Den has been a leader in adult products. Whether you want to explore a new kink or add a little romance to your evening, Lion's Den has something for all. Each location is brightly lit and staffed with the very best experts in pleasure, passion, and romance, so you can feel comfortable and confident in your purchases. Lion's Den is offering our listeners 15% off your purchase in-store and online using code SEXEDWITHDB at lionsden.com.
I'm Amy, sex and relationship coach, certified sex educator, and 2022's Sexpert of the Year in the sex toy industry.
And I'm April, VP of Hot Octopus, sex toy mogul, and 2016's Woman of the Year in the sex toy industry. Allow us to introduce you to Shameless Sex, a real talk, informative podcast all about sex and relationships, but with a playful twist.
Want to learn how to eat pussy like a champ, suck dick like a boss, how to better communicate, connect with, and touch lovers and partners? Or maybe you just want to be the master baiter of your own sexual pleasure.
Shameless Sex releases episodes weekly and features accredited doctors, authors, therapists, and educators, available on all podcast apps. Just look up Shameless Sex to discover your new best friends when it comes to all things sex and relationships. To learn more, visit shamelesssex.com.
Welcome back. Hello. Where were we? We were talking about the body. So when it comes to getting your body in the zone of feeling really, really good in your orgasm and in your pleasure, sex toys are a really fantastic way to increase the strength of your orgasm. And, this person is saying they have to go a couple more rounds to feel something. When you're using a sex toy, it might mean that you just want to go those extra rounds because you're actually reaching multiple orgasms, or you're just kind of hanging out in this like in-between zone of like we talked about in the last episode with Shameless Sex hosts Amy and April. Amy was kind of talking about, like hanging out in this like in-between zone, maybe between orgasms, between the peaks where it feels really, really good. And that is definitely thanks to sex toys. So if you're someone who hasn't tried a sex toy and you've maybe only been doing it old school with your fingers, I highly recommend you try to figure out like, okay, am I someone who really likes internal stimulation? Am I someone who wants only clitoral stimulation? Do I like my nipples being played with? Do I want kind of like pressure? Do I want, what kind of, pattern do I want? Do I want something that's really strong and bold? Or do I want something that's like zippy and quiet? There's so many different kinds of sex toys, but the reason why I bring it up is because sex toys definitely are used to strengthen our orgasms. Like the vibration really, really allows for our muscles to be kind of like contracting, like our vulva muscles in particular, and like our uterine muscles contract when we orgasm. And so if you're adding pressure and vibration and power to your orgasm, then your body, it's like a full body experience sometimes, and it can feel really, really intense in a good way. But if you're someone who's like, oh, that kind of sounds like overwhelming to me, I really just want to be able to get in the zone without a sex toy, don't discount a partner going down on you or using your hands or your fingers. If you're someone who learned how to masturbate as a young person and you're still kind of using those same techniques, say you learn to masturbate on your belly, if you're a vulva owner, then you can lean into that. You don't need to change your position, or you don't need to change, if it's not broken, don't fix it, basically. But if you're kind of feeling like, oh, like that just doesn't seem to cut it anymore, or it's not strong enough, I would have a conversation with a partner, if you do have a partner, around what that mouth can do. Because I think similar to a sex toy, it really just adds so much unique feeling to an orgasm and can really, really, excite your genitals in a way that adds a lot of lubrication and pleasure. And there can be different things that someone could do with their tongue in order to increase the strength of that orgasm and decrease the amount of time that it takes to get there. So yeah, generally speaking, I do kind of feel like when it comes to sex toys, when it comes to someone going down on you, or using your fingers, it's really like an experimentation of like, okay, well, what works best? What am I really trying to go for? And if you think about it in another way of like, okay, maybe my orgasm sometimes is a little weaker, but that means that maybe next time I want to make it super strong. So maybe occasionally I'll use a sex toy, or occasionally I'll try to figure out a way where it can be super strong, because there's also some novelty in different kinds of orgasms and different kinds of sexual experiences. So, ultimately the question here is like, what does this mean? At the end of the day, you know your body best. If you're kind of feeling like, oh, like this just isn't like working out, I've tried a sex toy, I've tried, a hookup going down on me, I've tried my hands, and like I just feel like my orgasm is super weak, then I would definitely recommend chatting with a pelvic floor therapist, a physical therapist, and a sex therapist, either one of those or both, and just kind of like figure out what might be going on for you. Because like I said in the beginning of this episode, there could be mental health aspects, there could be anxiety, depression, there could be an injury. There are so many things that could impact our pleasure and our health and our orgasm, that if you feel like a sex toy isn't cutting it, then it's really important to consider getting a pro in there and really having a conversation about that. The final thing that I'll say is that lube can be a really, really great way to decrease friction, increase pleasure, and promote a stronger orgasm with a sex toy or with your hands. Because when you're reaching that peak and you want to have a stronger orgasm, you don't want to slow down and stop what you're doing. You want to continue in order to, well, I don't know you, I don't know your life, but if you're someone who wants a stronger orgasm, you might want to continue touching yourself in order to really, really get that maximum amount of pleasure from your peak and from your climax. So lube can be a really, really great addition if you haven't tried that. Just remember, no silicone lube with a silicone toy. That can break down the toy's material and lead to bacteria getting in there, aka infection potentially. So just be careful of that. But yeah, other than that, like keep the orgasm questions coming, people. I really, really enjoy them. But I hope that you learn something. I hope that you write in a sex question, and I can't wait to come into your ear holes not CUM, guys. Come on, please grow up. Next week for a new episode. So stay tuned. And I'm just so excited to be here. So thank you to the most amazing listeners of Sex Ed with DB. Do you all call yourselves something also? If you feel like you're like, you know how like Armchair Expert has the armcherries? Like, what are we? Like, can we figure that out? This is season 9. Like, let's get into it. We need to figure that out. So if you have any recs, DM us and we might choose your name for our crowd, for our listeners, for our audience. I'm going to stop babbling now and I'm going to say, I love you. Goodbye. Enjoy your day. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel. Our producer and communications lead is Catherine Cohen. Our producer and communications coordinator is Sadie Leegee. Our marketing coordinator is Kate Fiala. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thanks so much to our featured guests, partners, and listeners. Want to partner with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on Instagram at sexedwithdbpodcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. Want to rep us with some brand new Sex Ed with DB merch? Go to sexedwithdb.com/merch to check it out now. See you next time.